go outside and pet the goats, but make sure to bring your beverage with you. Dave, this is our 50th tap
Yeah.
room, which is wild. This was just a kind of wild idea we had not long after Vet Tech
I
Cafe
want
kind of
to I want to
aired.
say it started in like January of
Yeah,
21, which is
yeah,
very soon after we started
very soon
everything.
after, and here we are, 50 episodes later. So we try to do, in case you're new here, we try to do these monthly, where we just talk about current events in veterinary medicine as they apply to us. And boy, there's been quite a few
Yeah.
recently. So this might be
Well,
a
we're a
little bit.
little late too. Like
Yeah, yeah,
life got in the
yeah,
way, right?
yeah. Life happens. So this might be a little bit longer of an episode, taproom wise, than usual. But we've got a lot to talk about. But first, Dave, dinner party question.
Okay, let's go.
So, my question to you, and sorry, caffeinators, but this is a sports question.
Of course.
So football field, 100 yards in length, 45 yards wide. Hockey rinks, they're all the same. NBA courts, they're all the same. Every baseball stadium you go to, the dimensions are different.
Correct.
How do you feel about that?
Um do I feel like it's fair, or do I feel like they
No,
should
no, no,
all?
not necessarily fair, but just like, do you feel? How do you feel about every baseball stadium being different dimensions when every other major
So
sport, the dimensions are given?
some things are the same, right?
Yes.
It's 90 feet between the bases. The foul lines are the same. The distance from the pitcher to the catcher is the same. But the fact that there are different dimensions, and I'm probably biased because I am a Boston fan and we have one of the most unique stadiums, and I love the uniqueness of it. So I'm perfectly fine with it being different dimensions. And you shared something with me on Instagram recently about was it Old Ebbets Field,
Uh huh. Yeah.
where it's like
The Polo
four
Grounds,
the Polo Grounds, yeah, where it's like
a
460 feet to
mile and a half
center,
to dead center field. Yeah.
but like the right field line is like 240 feet or something like that, which you and I could probably hit one out 240 feet. Where most stadiums like down the line is at least like minimum 310, 315 at the bare minimum. So I enjoy the uniqueness of it, and I, I'm a huge baseball fan, so I love pretty much everything about the sport. Like, and I really do enjoy the uniqueness of the stadiums, and the fact that it's not all exactly the same. Because I think we judge. So think about, I guess when we're thinking about football, we're thinking about yardage, like the you don't get extra points for hitting an extra long home run, right? It's either out or it's not out. So I feel like some of that stuff is important in other professions, but in baseball, I mean, we're the oldest sport, I think, I mean, other than soccer, but we're the oldest sport in of the big four. And I love that some of the uniqueness that is there is still existing today. I personally, I love it. I love it. What about you? Do you
Yeah.
dislike it?
No, no, I don't. So say I feel the same way. Like the infield, still 60 foot six
Yep.
inches home plate to pitcher's mound, 90 feet to first and third. Like those dimensions never change. It's the outfield
Yeah.
dimensions in the walls. What
And
I
sometimes, like,
hate.
think about the old athletic stadium where they had a gigantic
Oh yeah,
foul territory where
yeah, yeah.
other places don't.
What I don't like is the lazy stats and narratives when somebody hits a home run and it's like,
Oh yeah, would
this
have
is
been a home
not a
run,
home
and yeah,
run in 29 other ballparks.
right.
And like, and that's just technology and whatever else, and it's rampant throughout a lot of things. It's Don't even get me started. It's the same thing how they have the box with the strike zone.
Mhm.
If we didn't have that, we wouldn't need robot umpires and
Right,
everything else,
right.
because we know in real time if it's a ball or a strike. So it's the same kind of thing. Like, I've always enjoyed that when you go to Fenway Park, there's the Green Monster. When you go to Yankee Stadium, there's the short porch in right field.
Yep,
Or
yep.
when you used to play at Old Tiger Stadium, it's 440 feet to dead
Yeah,
center field,
yeah,
and you had to hit it a mile to
yep,
get it out of
to
there.
get it
And
out.
so I do like that. I hate that it's become this, again, just lazy. it would have been a home run here, it would not have been a home run anywhere else, or whatever. And that's kind of what
I
I
think
saw that recently, and it
to the
just kind
to
of
the to
spurred
the
this.
laziness, it's like they have to fill the
Yeah,
empty
it's
air
column inches and
time.
clicks,
Yeah,
and
they've got to talk
yep,
about it.
yep,
So,
yep,
which is why I don't like I love the local broadcasters that are in each stadium, like the national ones, the ESPN ones. I don't care for them because
yeah,
they have to fill airtime with
yeah,
stupid stats. And I mean, you and I are big stat geeks, like, but some of the stuff that they shout out, like the would have been a home run in
yeah.
29 other stadiums. Like, I don't care. It's a
For
home
the
run in this
first
stadium.
time on a Tuesday night with a
Yeah.
6:30 p.m. start time, with winds blowing out to
Yeah.
left field. That yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I mean, to some degree that stuff I do enjoy that. Like it's the uniqueness of it, but like
Yeah,
every single thing, like
yeah,
the thing they do in football, what do they call the scoregami, where this is a score that's never happened before. Like I like
hmm,
hearing that. That's cool information, but like they also don't need to dwell for like
yeah,
half an hour about it. Like the
yep,
sportscasters nowadays, they drone on about things that are I, I don't know who they're telling it to because
right.
the true fans don't really care.
No, no, no.
All right, my question for you is more of a deeper question.
Okay.
Um, what do you think success means? How do you define success?
Um, Success is not about the wins and losses. It's about helping the young men on the field become the best versions of themselves. Per Ted
is
Lasso.
that is that your yeah, is that your Ted Lasso version, or is that
uh,
your
no,
post game professional
so
athlete?
no, but I think I think it's unique to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like some people like their work is their life, and that's like I think it's important to remember negative results are still results when we look at scientific data. And so, like, if you're somebody that is endlessly doing studies or research or what have you, and that's how you define your success is like in your research or in your work, or if it's more like your family or like I don't know, whatever it is, I think it's something that looks different to everybody. And I think the big thing is one way or another you find a way to leave your mark, whether that's with
Hmm.
somebody else, whether that's on something else, whatever it may be. And so yeah, I think for me, it's um, long been. I mean, I'm 46 years old now, so like a long time it was in veterinary medicine, and trying to advanced credential or go speak at conferences or whatever. Now my priority is a change. I have a toddler. I have another daughter on the way next month. So it's more about like making sure I'm raising good, good humans, and
Hmm. Yeah.
that's more success than anything else.
I think success is like achieving what you set out to do, and that can take on many different
Yeah,
ways.
it
Like,
can absolutely change
right.
as you go through different periods of your life. Maybe that changes, maybe it doesn't for some people, but yeah, absolutely. It's more about where you're at right now and like
Well,
what you're
and
trying to do.
not to go back to sports again, but like we're allowed to move the goalposts, right? Like if
Hmm.
we want set
Hmm.
out to do one thing, we want to change it, we move the
Yeah,
goalposts and say, okay,
absolutely.
this is what success is.
Yeah.
Um, good questions. I like doing these. Uh, what do we call them? Dinner party questions. I
Hmm.
like doing these. These are fun.
Yeah, yeah, for
All
sure.
right, let's get into our
Let's get into some
stuff.
stuff here. So, first thing first, we want to talk about we're gonna jump right into the Minnesota Association for
Hmm.
Veterinary Technicians. This has been now we shared this. This is going back at least a few weeks now,
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
and I'm pulling up their thing here because
And Sam said she could put us in touch with.
yes, yes, we are going to be having a future episode with somebody to talk more about what has been going on with. And now I'm struggling to find the post. Let me go to our page because I know we shared it.
Yeah, I don't see it on
Um,
their page, but I see it on our page.
yeah. So we're going to be talking with somebody from Minnesota Association of Vet Techs before too long. Not only did Sam recommend somebody, but so did Kelly Foltz,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
works with
Yep.
somebody there too. So basically, what it was, there we are. Okay. So I'm just reading. Oh, this was a post from NAVTA on April
Oh, that's
17th.
why we
So,
can't find it. Yeah.
yep, in a landmark achievement for the veterinary profession in Minnesota, the Veterinary Technician Licensure Bill was officially signed into law in 2024. This will transition credentialed technicians in the state from being voluntarily CVTs, certified veterinary technicians, to licensed veterinary technicians. This pivotal legislation establishes licensure requirements for veterinary technicians and will set a new standard for professionalism, accountability, and excellence in animal care across the state.
Good.
So, first off,
Excellent.
way to go, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's a like caffeinators, if you've been following along for a while now, we've had several episodes about governance and associations and how all of this stuff comes to be, but this is not something that just happened. This
Oh yeah.
is
Yeah.
several years worth of work by several people throughout the state of Minnesota. Probably some that started it and maybe left the project, some that came in. Like, that's how long this stuff takes um, to become reality. And for the association and for the now LVTs in the state of Minnesota to have this seen through is huge
Yeah. Yeah.
in terms of accountability, in terms of professional recognition. And there's a lot that's going to go into this in terms of licensing requirements and all of that stuff. But I think it's something we all strive for.
Hmm.
There's, it's well documented. Every state is a little bit different, whether you're RVT, CVT, LVT, or like Tennessee LVMT, or don't even have
Right.
any kind of registration or credentialing, voluntary or otherwise. Um, and it's something that we need all states to do, and it's something that we really need NAV to help drive. But also, like, NAVTA can't just say, "Hey, Utah, you don't have this.
Right.
We're going
Yeah.
to make this happen for you." We need people in Utah to make this happen and take it upon themselves. And NAVTA will provide some framework and some guidance and some help. And so this isn't like, while this is a NAVTA post and NAVTA helps drive this sort of thing, NAVTA didn't do this.
Right. Oh yeah.
People in Minnesota
Right.
did this and made this happen for people in their state. And it's a really, really, really good thing.
Yeah, and I think the title protection I think is what comes with that, and setting standards, and and it's not that the CVTs weren't doing things right, but now with the licensure, that it I think it's takes the volunteer part out of it, and it makes it
Hmm.
more of a legislative thing where it's gives us gives those technicians more recognition, I think.
Yeah.
And speaking personally, like I moved here to North Carolina in 2016, and when I got here, I first started hearing about reciprocity in the state, and I've been in touch with the North Carolina Tech Association quite a bit, and it's an ongoing process where here we are 8 9 years later, and they're still working on it. So
Hmm.
it's not something that they just decide and it gets done in one fiscal period. it
Right.
it takes years to get all this
Hmm.
stuff done. So I don't know how long Minnesota spent on this, but I'm sure it was
Yeah.
multiple years, multiple committees and
Yeah.
meetings and all this stuff that gets put together. It's such a labor intensive process, really.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. When I moved to Massachusetts in 2016, they were trying to go through process from going from
Yep.
CVT to more of a licensure base, and it's still in process. And I
Yeah.
remember going to those meetings and hearing from Aaron Spencer and a couple other people about, just how it wasn't attached to the right bill, or
Right.
just, and it's the process is daunting, and it's so easy to be discouraged. And especially for those people on the association side who are working so hard for this, it's easy for membership to be like, I don't understand why this is taking so long. I don't,
Right.
like, they're not doing anything. I promise you, they they are
They're doing
trying to
something.
make it
Yeah.
happen. And it just, like, the wheels of government turn slow. And
Hmm.
frankly, your membership status within your state is what drives this. When
Yeah.
you have, as an organization, when you have a large membership that you are representing, naturally that becomes more of a priority.
Yep.
When you are representing 8 people, 10 people in a profession that might have hundreds, if not thousands of people in that state, you don't have a lot of clout.
Right.
You don't
Right.
have a lot of bargaining power. And so, like we have said time and time again when we've talked about this kind of stuff, even if you're not active in your membership, which aside from the point, like I absolutely encourage you to be, but your membership, your paid membership in these organizations allows them to go and do things that are
Hmm.
going to benefit you. Just because you don't see it happening on the day to day, I promise you there is so much happening behind the scenes that is only to your benefit. It's
Well, and
uh,
also think about like the membership on the tech association boards. They are largely volunteers. Like
yes, oh,
they're not.
absolutely. Yeah,
This is
these
not
are
their full time
people.
job.
Yeah, these are people that have full time jobs. Probably a couple of them have a couple of full time
Multiple. Yeah.
jobs and do other things. Like this is not. I mean, I've been on the CARTA board of directors for I think 12 years now, and I'm going to term out here very soon. But never once have I gotten a paycheck from
Right. Right.
CARTA. Like it's all voluntary, and it just like it takes that's why partially not only why but that's a big part of why it takes so long, and then just the wheels of government just turn
Oh yeah.
slow. But like this is not the only thing these people have to work on in their
Well,
lives, and
and
so
the other part you mentioned it in there is tied to other things in the bills. Like this is my lack of understanding of government and why it's so inefficient. Like, why can't we have single item bills? Like, why can't we not just have this one thing? Like, can we just do this one thing? Like, vote yes or no. You don't have to look at all. Like, I've never understood why they try to lump everything all into uh, all these different things that are closely related but not really dependent on each other. Like, I don't understand why we can't just have single item bills that yes or no, vote for this, debate it if you want to, but you don't have to talk about X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D to get this one thing passed. Like, I've never understood that, but again, that's probably just my lack of understanding of government and
money
frustration
it
with it.
comes down to money and sponsorship. That's all
I'm
it
sure
is.
that's what it is. Yeah.
That's all it is. That's
Hey,
all
yeah,
it is.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, all that to say, congratulations
Yeah.
to
Great.
veterinary
Good for
technicians in
them.
Minnesota and to the Minnesota Association of Veterinary Technicians. Like, in case you guys don't realize, it's a massive undertaking and it is a
Huge, huge,
massive
huge, huge.
win to have been able to get that done. So, major congratulations to you guys. What's next?
What was next? We want to talk about. I guess we'll talk about the mid-level practitioner again. Let's get this going
Mm-hmm.
again.
Oh boy.
Colorado. I shared with you something from the AVMA that I seem to have lost. Um,
The
about
curriculum design. Yeah.
curriculum design and looking at the cost. I think initially was something that I shriveled up and said, "Oh my god, that's a lot of money." But then realizing that it's now 2025, when I went to college in the 90s, my my early 90s college tuition was like 9,500 a year or something like that. And this it says, where is it?
Yes.
65 credit hours would cost 34,000 for in-state students and 77,000 for out-of-state students. And as I took a step back at that, and I was like, "Oh, maybe that's more like standard of what college costs nowadays." Is that about right?
Well, so I guess I'm guessing 65 credit hours is essentially going to boil down to 2 years.
Yeah.
And so that to me is significantly less, at least on the out of state side, I can say for vet school.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Now,
yeah, definitely,
now,
yeah.
Molly went to Tufts, which is a private institution. It's not a state school, but she graduated 4 years of vet school. This had nothing to do with undergrad,
Mhm.
just 4 years of vet school, over $300,000.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was 75,000 a year plus.
yeah.
So this is 77,000 out of state for 2 years, basically. So it is.
And that's just tuition, doesn't
which
factor in
includes,
like
right,
room
of
and board
course,
and
the living and all of
yeah,
the
all
things.
that other stuff.
Um, I I still
But a lot,
struggle with who's going to hire these people, and b, what kind of salary they're going to make.
yeah,
It's going to be for sure lowballed, and um, like it's probably so. I don't know. Well, I think that part of it is going to take several years to determine, like return
mhm,
on investment and job statistics and all of that. What I think the one thing I texted you about, I think the one thing that I found really interesting diving into this was that there was a PetSmart charity
yeah,
grant
yeah.
to help with curriculum design, and I did a bit of digging
You did a little deep dive.
and found that I think it was either 125,000 or 175,000 grant to support the Dumb Friends League in Colorado in their ongoing commitment to accessible and exceptional urgent care for the people and pets across Colorado. So that's essentially what that was used for. I struggle with the idea that an institution like Colorado State University, like the major state school in the state of Colorado, like if they want to start a new credentialing program, why do they need an outside grant to make like
Well, is it big? Is it that they need it, or is it just that
no,
they
it's
offered it?
because it's there and they offer
Right.
it, and like it shows some mutual benefit, and then you have sponsorship and you have like you have another network to tap into. It all kind of goes into that, but I I don't know, like, to me the school should pay for building out this program if they
Right.
want to have that program, and that grant needs to go to students that are actually going to
Agreed. Yeah.
graduate from this
That would
thing.
benefit from it. Yeah.
Right. And that, because these are not people like they're higher learners, they're whatever, they have other degrees, and like there's obviously requirements for the program, but they're not like you and I just can't go do this thing. Like there's going to be some measure of student debt that
Of
is
course.
going to
Yeah.
be incurred. And to me, like that $175,000 grant, like that could pay for, I don't know, I forget. I forget what I saw the cohorts were going to be, 32 people or something like that. I saw it on
Okay.
a different site. But like that could be a $10,000 grant for the first couple of cohorts for each
Right.
person. Like that to me is what that should be. And if Colorado State wants to do this and make this happen, and like have a new program at their campus, then they should do that.
Yeah. I just in the like you said, the cohorts are going to be 32. I don't know. Is it going to be that many? Like for a
Yeah,
couple
I
years,
know.
like we're
I'll be interested to see. I got
like
to look into
as
that.
I've said many times when this comes up, we're training people for a job that doesn't exist yet. So
Right.
um the fact that they want to do this, like obviously they're going to do it, and the cost of it, like you said, that money could go to better things than building out a curriculum. I would think that would be something that before you even proposed this, you had a curriculum in mind.
Right.
Like why now, after things have passed, are we now taking money to build a curriculum? Like, don't you have staff that should be doing that? Like, don't you have educators that should be building that curriculum? Like, I don't know why we need to get charities involved to build a curriculum. That doesn't really make sense to me. But again, it's money, and the the charity has money to spend, and they have to spend it
Yeah,
somewhere.
they got to spend it somewhere, and so be it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we had a whole episode with Aaron
Yeah,
Hanger on it from
about yeah,
Colorado, and a couple other things too we've talked about, and be very interested to see where this goes over the next little while. But that's one thing that kind of irked me a little bit is that, like, to me, that's not what grant money should be used
Right.
for.
Well, and like you said, it's a 2-year program, and in 2 years, are we going to have these jobs? Like, are there jobs
Yeah,
for these people in 2 years?
yeah,
I don't think there are. Like, I think
yeah,
there's still a lot to talk about before we even get to that. Like, yes, I agree. This is probably in the long term a good idea, and this is a necessary thing, I think. But I think we have so many more steps to get through to even get to the point where we can start talking about. All right, we've got a class going, and they're going to graduate in 2 years, so hurry up. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the university anticipates its first class of 20 to 30 students in the
yeah,
fall
I
of
see that too.
2025. So, and again, this is meant for Colorado.
Hmm.
I think the idea is that these 20 to 30 students are going to stay within the boundaries of Colorado, right? To like
Yeah,
improve access to care. How long until that gets saturated and like assuming, like you were saying, assuming that there is jobs for these people, um, how long until those jobs are like they're full in
right.
the state of Colorado? Like how I read so much about access to care and they're not actually being like, yes, there is an access to care issue, but like a lot of it is people that can't afford care. Like this is
Hmm.
still going to cost money.
Of course, yeah.
It's not the idea that they can't see a veterinarian. I think that's a like yes, there is a wait and there's a delay just like there is in human medicine, but like the idea that I I can't see a veterinarian. Yes, you might have to drive for a little while, but like
Hmm.
if you live in a really remote area 4 hours from the nearest clinic, this is not going to solve that problem.
Yeah. Well,
So
and I'm seeing at the end of this article, and this is yet another article written by Lisa Wogan. We have to get her on the show sometime
I
because
know
every time we look up stuff that's on on Vin, it's written by her.
it's always
Um,
yeah.
it's always her. And at the very end of this, it said final rules for the VPA, which is the Veterinary Professionals Associates Union of some sort, um, required to be in place by January 1st, 2026. So we have to have rules for these jobs in less than a year. And as we've said, the wheels of legislature do not get done in a year. Like unless they've already worked out 75% of this, this is not going to get done by the end of this year. Like I just don't see it.
Right, right. So
Oh boy. And
anyway,
we could talk about this all day long,
all day, yes,
but
but
we won't.
it's a family show ish,
It
and
is.
it's no, but it's we try to keep it in a relatively
We try
short
to.
time
We
frame.
tried not to talk too much about
Yeah,
politics and government and all that
yeah,
stuff, but
yeah.
sometimes
But as it
it
relates to our
creeps in.
profession, we need to.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of
Was
which, next topic.
Yeah. Next topic. What's our next topic?
So I saw this on the Multicultural
Oh
Veterinary
yes.
Medical
Oh boy.
Association page. That the AVMA is rolling back to some degree their DEI policies, and which I think for a lot of people is unsurprising, based on just the political climate
Yeah.
and everything else. I think when I when I read the post on Facebook just before we came on live, one of the things that I think maybe I'm not saying this is an excuse or this makes it right in any way, shape, or form, but I think the reality is that because this kind of thing comes from the Department of Education, which the COE, the Council of Education, that basically certifies all vet schools,
Yeah.
um, they're they're taking this away, and so if the AVMA continued with reporting of DEI statistics, it would potentially impact student federal student loans that those schools can offer. Again, by no means is it meant to be an excuse or a way out. And like maybe this is why the AVMA did this to still be able to allow their students to tap into that. Like to me, at the end of the day, that's what governing is. Governing is choosing. And
Yeah.
while like this sucks, but like If they if they don't do that, then probably a lot of students are impacted. The flip side of that is by not reporting, then how do we actually know if we're making improvements in underrepresented
Right.
minorities and they're being accepted to schools and actually like the profession representing the population. This is way above me, and like I know on the surface it's not good, but
Right.
to some degree I don't know that the AVMA, they had a choice, absolutely.
Right.
And I think they made the easier choice for sure. The harder choice would be like, no, like we are trying to increase the diversity in our profession and we are trying to make our profession more representative of the population and all of that. We are not acquiescing to this. Um, but at the flip side of that is when you have a profession that only, I mean, how many vet schools do we have in the US now? We're right around 30, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
30, 28, 30, 32 maybe, that are accredited veterinary schools in the US. Like there's not a lot of options.
True.
When you start talking about like maybe student loans are not available,
Hmm.
because an institution or the organization makes this other choice. As I said, I mean, my wife graduated with over
Yeah.
$300,000 of student debt from Tufts University. Um, I don't know how you do that otherwise.
Right.
So, yeah,
The so we saw did we share this, or was it on the
I don't.
MCVMA's
That's where I
post?
saw it. I don't remember if I ended up sharing it to our page or not.
So it's on Vet Candy, and they do like reporting on certain stuff, and kind of laid out all the stuff that was discussed in this. And then there's one comment from 2 days ago that kind of struck me. It says, it's from somebody named SPD. I don't know who that is. Says DVM schools have been reporting these numbers for years, and the student population has only become whiter and more female. Instead of focusing on DEI initiatives that do little to make the profession accessible to a broader pool of candidates, DVM colleges should focus on lowering their financial barrier, which will encourage enrollment from a broader pool of candidates. Lowering costs will also improve the cost benefit ratio, which and encourage candidates to seek a DVM rather than MD, DDS, or other human medicine path that offers a more attractive costs versus medium salary ratio. So, I mean, that's a excellent point.
Mhm.
I don't know about like doing away with DEI and not focusing on it. But I mean, that's one way to focus on it is to lower the cost where yes, it's gonna reach more people that are not in the higher tax bracket or in the more better off financially. Not that there aren't people of color or multicultural that are in those brackets, but if you want to broaden who you're going to be able to advertise to get into this profession, you need to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
And that's not really a cultural thing, it's not really a race thing, but or a gender thing, but just making it more accessible to people to do this. And yeah, granted, I mean, if you look at the admission numbers, there's tons, hundreds, probably thousands of people that don't get accepted into
Hmm.
veterinary schools because there's just not enough space for them all.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, okay, well, who can pay the most? And then
Yeah.
you limit your pool to the people that can afford it
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that point
or who are
that
willing to go into massive amounts of debt for
right,
it.
right. Well, and that's what I was going to say is I think that that idea that of making it more affordable and accessible, that has to happen to undergrad
Oh
before
yeah,
vet
yeah,
school. Like
right. All of it.
i- in my mind, so my niece plays prep hockey. She's in Massachusetts. She's from here in LA, but she's in Massachusetts playing prep hockey and is looking at colleges to go play hockey. And one point she toured Harvard, and it was like, if you can get into Harvard, they told her on her recruiting visit, if you can get into Harvard, we will figure out a way for you to pay for it.
Mhm.
And I almost feel like going to undergrad, like because vet school is extremely competitive to
Oh
get
yeah.
into,
Yeah.
again, because of the number of spots and everything.
Mhm.
To me, this isn't so much this is a vet school problem, but I think we need to come a step back and say, like, are we actually admitting even these people to college, and like, are they knowing in undergrad that this is a viable career option and that this is what they want to do? Yes, vet school is crazy expensive and all of that, but like, are a number of people even being turned off to veterinary medicine because undergrad
Yeah.
is too much?
The
Like
prereqs are too
the
expensive.
prereqs, like
Yeah.
the 4 years before you even go to the 4 years of vet school is too much.
Yeah.
And I think that that needs to be a reality, that if somebody in, I think largely the U.S., like we at large, need to get away from everybody having to have a college degree to have a successful life. Like there's tons of great jobs in the trades and everything else that don't require that. But if that's your path, and if you want to go to that, that has to be more accessible.
Right.
And then understand, like, okay, I'm heading in this direction. I want to pursue veterinary medicine, but like if you just can't afford to do it, like that can't be the end of your
Right.
educational and career journey.
Yeah, because we're turning away people that have the passion, have the desire
Right.
to do the job, and because they're not able to financially pay for it, then
Right.
the
Right.
we lose out. Like the
Right.
profession
The
loses out.
profession,
The clients lose
society.
out. The
Yeah.
patients lose out because they've got this
Yeah.
person that could easily do the job and be amazing at it, but we can't
Yeah.
get them the funding to actually afford to do it, or just like you said, like you get out of vet school with $300,000 in debt, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna make X amount. I'm gonna make 100,000 a year, but a third of that is gonna have to go to pay off these stupid loans. Like
Right. Right.
at some point, it's cheaper to buy a house than to go to vet school, right? Like you're gonna be in less debt, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's just the financial part of it is so frustrating.
Yeah. It really, really is. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, those kind of conversations are way above us, but there's got to be a way to actually make things better or easier or more accessible, and not like rely on.
Well, the thing that'll fix it is probably some type of legislation that's going to take
Right.
15, 20 years to get passed
And
through.
will
And
be lobbied against and
yeah,
overturned, and yeah, by the end of it, it won't even look like what they were originally trying to do.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Cause something else will get tied to it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
single issued bills. Like, why do we not do these? Like, I don't understand why we don't have single issue bills. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, you're not paying, like, it's not like each bill that gets passed, it costs a certain amount to do it. Like, it's the same thing. It's not a it's not a pay as you go. Like you can have as many bills as you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not in government.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one of the many reasons.
Right.
I mean, the other reason is that I literally don't own a suit.
I don't think they would let you wear a Red Sox jersey
Oh,
on the floor of Congress, but
that will be my campaign platform
maybe,
is
maybe,
more Red
maybe,
Sox jerseys in Congress.
maybe they would. Yeah, who knows? Let's see. I'm trying to think. Was there anything else
I
that?
mean, well, we've got our mental health series coming
Oh
up.
yes, yes.
We've recorded one already. Actually, two repeat guests for this. We didn't
Mhm.
record the second one. We were supposed to record that yesterday, but you had
Had some
internet
internet
issues, so we
trouble.
had to reschedule that. But we'll get that done. And yeah, we've got a couple good episodes coming up. We did have three lined up, but one person we have
Yeah.
had trouble getting in touch with, but we'll have two this year. Great. The first episode was great. The next episode I'm really looking forward
Hmm.
to talk about what is it called? The
The
worst
world's worst. cocktail
World
party.
world's worst cocktail party.
Yeah,
Maybe we can ask some dinner party questions at that one
yeah,
and
yeah,
see if we can do that
yeah,
instead of a would you rather question.
yeah,
Um, other things that I mean, not to go back to baseball again, but we're in baseball season, and that's on the forefront of my mind most of the time. The Red Sox documentary that's on Netflix talked a lot with Jaron Duran, who's a young player for the Red Sox. He's struggled with mental health his entire career, and really opened the door to talking about suicide and talking about the struggles. And you and I have been talking the last couple of days about this because there was an on-field incident that happened this weekend where somebody, a fan, said something very inappropriate to him about his suicide attempt, and uh, I just can't fathom the mindset of somebody that would actually mock somebody for suicide. Like, get your head right. Like that.
yeah,
That's not even acceptable. Um, but just the fact that they had him open up, like he volunteered that. It wasn't like
yeah,
they forced him to do that, but he opened up about that because he's been very vocal about his mental health issues. He tapes his wrist before every game, and on one wrist it says "still alive," and on the second wrist it says "F him," which I think is a great mantra. And you know, thinking that Mental Health Month is coming up, that's kind of at the forefront of my mind. And just watching those episodes with him, you feel so bad for him that he's at the top of his game. Like, he's a professional athlete. He was the MVP of the All-Star game last year, and he still thinks he's not good enough. Like, somehow I'm going to weave this into my imposter syndrome lecture that I'm giving. Cuz like, I mean, perfect example, like at the top of his game, one of the best young players in baseball, and he still feels like he's not good enough. Like, sames, buddy, sames. Like,
hmm
it's very tough to watch, but the fact that he has survived and he is pushing through it, I think speaks volumes for mental health as a whole. That yes, you can struggle with this even at the top of your profession, at the top of your game, and still be struggling with this. And but there are ways to kind of push through, and there are ways to get past, not get past it. I don't think that's the right terminology, but to manage it and thrive and be successful. So um exciting to see him kind of speak out about those things.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And you haven't watched it yet, I know, because it's a Red Sox
Nope,
thing, but it's
nope.
it's great even if you're not like I've been telling Robin, like, as we've been watching, I think there's like 8 episodes. I was like, I would watch this with every team. Like, I would watch the Chicago White Sox on this, on
Yeah, yeah,
on how their team is managing their every day-to-day stuff. It's
yeah,
if you're a fan of baseball, I recommend you watch it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And then coming out of our May series, we'll have some great episodes
Yeah,
lined
we
up
get some great ones lined up.
for June.
Hmm.
So we've got a lot of really really cool stuff coming down the pike. So really excited about all that.
And then it'll be Ivex, and
And
then
then, and then before we know it, it'll be IVEX.
before we
Yeah,
know it'll be Ivex.
and
Uh,
shortly thereafter, it'll be start of year seven,
Seven?
six,
No,
seven.
2019 is when we started.
Yeah,
So
so it'll be start of year
so
seven
we'll
then.
we'll finish year 6 and starting year 7. Wow, my
Wow,
goodness.
wow.
At some
Yeah,
point, like, it's gonna be like we're gonna get like a trophy or something, right? Like, somebody's gonna give us like an award, right?
I don't know. I'm just
Is there a
waiting
longevity award?
for one of these emails to talk to some innovator in some other field that has nothing to do with VetNet. I'm just waiting for one of these emails that we're like, we want to buy your podcast for $1 million. And
Yeah. Yeah, and if that email does come to us, guys, it's been nice knowing
yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure, for sure. The Vet Tech Cafe can be bought, but
Yeah, I mean, we're for sale if the
yeah,
price is right.
it's gonna take some money. It's gonna take some money.
And also,
Uh,
like, somebody to figure out the taxes involved
yeah,
with that
yeah,
type of purchase.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Not us, not us.
Not us. Well, if that's why the price is so high, because we
Yeah,
need to pay somebody big bucks to deal with the tax
yeah.
part of
Make
it.
sure it's on the up and up. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well,
This was a lengthy
Capnators.
one. Yeah, 40,
Yeah,
45-ish minutes. All right.
yeah, yeah. So, we hope you guys are doing well as we head into this. Will post, I think, probably this coming weekend. The
Yeah,
audio, I know the live is happening
the
now.
live will be now. This will post on May 4th.
It's
Oh, May the
May
4th. May the 4th
May
be
the
with
fourth.
you, everybody.
Yes, May the fourth be with you. May is
Talking to you,
Mental
Liza.
Awareness Month, so everybody make sure to take care of yourselves, check on your people. We hope you guys are well, and we will talk to you soon from the Vet Tech Cafe, and then we'll be back in the Vet Tech Tap Room sometime in May.
Bye, everybody.